Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at what I believe to be the spiciest team I've ever seen in the Great League. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Jazz H2O Protector, so many thanks for the battle submission. The team consists of XL Poliwhirl on the lead, with level 50 Hisuian Growlithe and XL LARVESTA in the back. And not only that, this triple spicy team is being run at high elo above expert rank. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's check out the team in action. Hopping into the first match, picking up a tough lead Poliwhirl into Mandibuzz. Honestly, Mandibuzz is tough for every Pokemon on this team. Mandibuzz, massively overfarming here, and we're going to see an immediate no shield from the Poliwhirl. Aerial Ace will connect. We're going to see a switch into the Growlithe, looking to catch the Aerial Ace onto the Growlithe that has the Rock subtyping, but unfortunately Mandibuzz shows great patience and is now able to land a Dark Pulse, and that does quite a lot of damage. Mandibuzz firing off another charge move here. Growlithe has energy and is going to commit shields in order to keep the energy. Growlithe continuing to farm and going for the Rock Slide. Rock Slide will hit for super effective damage onto the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz commits the shield. Mandibuzz is able to outpace the Growlithe. Growlithe gonna let this through. Mandibuzz goes for the Aerial Ace, hoping it would KO, but they underestimate the might of XL Hisuian Growlithe, and Growlithe is able to grab the final shield from the Mandibuzz. Unfortunately, the Mandibuzz is able to get the farm down. In comes the Poliwhirl, and Poliwhirl gets its fast move denied. Does not get the fast move through. That's extremely unfortunate. Poliwhirl now going to fire off the return. Return into the Mandibuzz. Will get the KO in the back. It's Ferrothorn, and it's a Nidoqueen. Is this possible for LARVESTA? LARVESTA is going to be shielding up the Poison Fang here. LARVESTA looking to overfarm and go for the Flame Charge. Did LARVESTA overfarm enough to make it to a Flame Charge versus this Ferrothorn? In comes the Ferrothorn. Oh no! Ferrothorn makes the move, but the Ferrothorn took a ton of damage from the Embers. In comes the Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl makes it to the Mud Bomb. This is neutral damage. Will it be enough to KO the Ferrothorn? Yes, it does! And that is a good game. Moving into the next match, leading Poliwhirl into Shadow Alolan Ninetales. We're going to see a save switch into LARVESTA. These Embers are tearing through the Ninetales, so the opponent is going to send in Umbreon. Umbreon may not be ready for the Bug Buzz, and they definitely are not. Umbreon getting absolutely destroyed by the Bug Buzz from LARVESTA. LARVESTA continuing to farm, looking for the farm down, and gets the farm down of the Umbreon. So LARVESTA leaving with energy here. The question is, what does the opponent have? They're going to send in Scrafty. Scrafty now going to be hit with a Flame Charge. Flame Charge into the Scrafty will be shielded. This is, of course, going to be boosting up the Ember damage. Back in comes Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl farming up, going for the Mud Bomb on the CMP tie here to the foul play. The Mud Bomb into the Scrafty will be no shielded. This is a tough call to make. Gonna let this through. Foul play will hurt if it lands, and it does. Getting Poliwhirl very close to the red. And now Scrafty is gonna fire off another charge move here. We see the shield. It's a power-up punch, and this is gonna be tough. In comes the Ninetales. Ninetales answered with the Growlithe, and the Embers are absolutely shredding through the Ninetales. Ninetales fires off the Weather Ball, but that is resisted. Growlithe able to get the farm down and leaving with the Crunch. Crunch, of course, is heavily resisted here, looking for a debuff. Crunch gets a shield and a debuff. Let's go, Growlithe. In comes the Poliwhirl. Is this Mud Bomb going to be enough thanks to that defense debuff? Mud Bomb into the Scrafty will secure the KO, and that's another win for this impossible team. We see a Core Breaker on the lead in the next match. Poliwhirl into Lanturn. Thank goodness this Lanturn is on Water Gun, as Water Gun means that Poliwhirl can actually fight back here pretty well. Mud Bomb will hit for super effective damage. Poliwhirl continuing to farm, making it to Mud Bomb number 2, putting some pressure on the shields of the opponent. We're going to see a shield from the Lanturn. Lanturn has a lot of energy here. Immediate shield from the Poliwhirl. Is it a bait? It is the Surf Bait from the opponent. That's very unfortunate, but Poliwhirl, consistent pacing, getting to this Mud Bomb so quickly thanks to Mudshot, able to grab the final shield. Poliwhirl continuing to farm. We see the double shield from the Poliwhirl. We see the Thunderbolt from the Lantern. That's an absolutely massive shield. Looking to overfarm quite a lot and go for the Mud Bomb to get the KO. So no shields remaining, which is a bit scary considering how glassy the backline is, but at the very least, the Water Gun Lantern is out of the way. In comes Medicham. We're now going to see a pivot into LARVESTA, and it's a Bastiodon in the back, and everything goes wrong in an instant, as Bastiodon will absolutely destroy the LARVESTA. Back in comes the Poliwhirl, and Poliwhirl has to do what it can to get rid of the Bastiodon, but even so, that Medicham is going to be absolutely awful for the Growlithe in the back. Bastiodon, the absolute destroyer of fun. Stone Edge will get the KO. In comes the Growlithe. Growlithe not going to be able to get the farm down, forced to go for the crunch, and that's just going to be game over. As Medicham, these counters will absolutely shred, and Medicham is going to fire off its charge move as well. Medicham, Psychic, will get the KO. Looking for some redemption in the next match, but the leads are not getting easier, leading Poliwhirl into Defense Deoxys. Poliwhirl farming up energy, making it to the return as Deoxys makes it to the Thunderbolt here. Return has a pretty high base damage, and we see it there as it does big damage onto the Deoxys. Immediate shield from the Poliwhirl as Thunderbolt would absolutely shred the Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl farming up energy here, going for a Mud Bomb. This will not KO, but it is going to get Deoxys extremely low. Deoxys commits a shield. That's great news for the Poliwhirl. Tough call to make. Poliwhirl decides to let it through. It's the Psycho Boost that will not KO. Opponent sends in Lickitung, and with a fraction of HP, Poliwhirl is able to hang on, make the return, and deal some sizable damage to the Lickitung. In comes the Growlithe. Growlithe farming up energy here. Due to Growlithe's unique typing, Body Slam, of course, is going to be resisted, so they're forced to go for the neutral Power Whip. Power Whip is going to land, continuing to farm with the Growlithe. Growlithe getting extremely low, banking the energy, and we see a switch into the LARVESTA. LARVESTA can't quite get the farm down before the Body Slam is reached. That does quite a lot of damage. In the back, it's the perfect Pokemon to see. It's a Alolan Ninetales. Firing off the Flame Charge. Flame Charge into the Ninetales will be shielded. Of course, the Embers are now doing extra damage. Embers can't quite get the farm down, but Growlithe gets the Ember through. This will KO, and it has the Crunch loaded. Is this going to be enough to KO the Deoxys? Come on, Growlithe. Please. Crunch KOs Deoxys, and that's a good game. We see a pretty nice lead in the next match. Poliwhirl into Alolan Sandslash. The Sandslash is going to look to farm up, but we see Poliwhirl strike first with the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb connects. We now see a switch into the Growlithe. Growlithe will be answered with Serperior. Serperior will be able to fire off these grass moves here, whether it's the Leaf Tornado or the Frenzy Plant. It is the Frenzy Plant, and that nearly one-shots the Growlithe with neutral damage. Growlithe goes for the Rock Slide. That will be shielded. And now it's going to be time for LARVESTA. LARVESTA does not appreciate Aerial Ace, though. Aerial Ace will hit for super effective damage, so we will see a shield from the LARVESTA, and LARVESTA will get the farm down. Opponent in the back, they have Mandibuzz, and this is tough. Mandibuzz, as we saw in that first game, is a definite problem spot for this team. Flame Charge is going to connect. We see a switch into the Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl continuing to farm, hoping to potentially catch an Aerial Ace, but unfortunately Mandibuzz holds on to its energy and now gets to land the significantly stronger move, and we see the switch into the A-Slash, going for the Drill Run. Oh my goodness, but the Poliwhirl hangs on. Poliwhirl on 1 HP, makes the Mud Bomb, gets the KO. Back in comes the Mandibuzz, but unfortunately Poliwhirl is only able to get to the double resistant Mud Bomb here, and the opponent will not shield, and the Mandibuzz, I think it just has too much energy here for the LARVESTA to overcome. LARVESTA calls the first move. Aerial Ace does so much damage. Continuing to farm is the LARVESTA. LARVESTA needs the back-to-back charge moves to win here. Aerial Ace will be shielded. LARVESTA going for the Flame Charge, but unfortunately it's just too little too late, as Mandibuzz can hide behind the final shield, make it to one final Aerial Ace, and Mandibuzz will secure the knockout onto LARVESTA. Moving into the next match, we've got some spice from the opponent here. We're now going to see a safe switch, oh no, into the Hisuian Growlithe, and it's getting completely torn to shreds by Water Gun Lantern. The Buzzwole Spice on the lead from the opponent, scaring off the Poliwhirl, and Growlithe just gets completely destroyed by the Water Gun Lanturn. In comes the Poliwhirl, committing the shield, and Lanturn goes for the Thunderbolt, so that is a big shield. Poliwhirl looking to massively overfarm here, nearly to the back-to-back Mud Bombs. Mud Bomb into this Lanturn, will connect, can't quite get that farm down, as Lanturn will make one final move. Thankfully, it is just a Surf. So Poliwhirl leaves with energy. Back in comes the Buzzwole. Is Buzzwole prepared for a return, though? They've only seen the ground moves. Going for the return. Into the Buzzwole. It's shielded. In comes LARVESTA. And LARVESTA is just going to let this through. It's the Lunge. Lunge is resisted in the back. It's a Sandslash. Opponent did not know what they were seeing. They send in the Ice Steel type Pokemon into an Ember user, and their Sandslash gets absolutely destroyed. Back in comes the Buzzwole. Buzzwole taking super effective damage from the Embers, and now even more damage after that Flame Charge. Buzzwole forced to throw energy here, and it's all up to Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl needs to make a Mud Bomb to win. In comes the Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl able to make the Mud Bomb, and despite the terrible lead and nightmare middle game, Poliwhirl takes the win. Moving into the next match, leading Poliwhirl into Sableye. I'm interested to see how this matchup goes. We see actually an immediate save switch into Hisuian Growlithe, and again, Growlithe is met with the Lanturn. Thankfully, this time it's a Spark Lanturn, so they can't just farm down, but still a terrible spot for Growlithe to be in. Growlithe is just going to let this go. Surf, double super effective damage. Unfortunately, that Growlithe just gets massively overkilled, and now back in comes the Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl looking to overfarm here and playing to the CMP tie with the Lanturn. Very nice overfarm there. Mud Bomb is going to secure the knockout on the Lanturn. Back in comes the Sableye, and Sableye is going to get chipped with the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, of course, doesn't threaten to KO, but it does grab a shield from the opponent. That's a bit of a surprise. Poliwhirl, I think, should be able to tank a foul play here and make it to the last second Mud Bomb. Poliwhirl barely able to hang on. That was closer than I expected. Poliwhirl makes the Mud Bomb. We see the switch into LARVESTA. LARVESTA going to be shielding everything here as the Embers begin to chip away at Sableye's health. What is in the back? Oh my goodness, it's Registeel. Go, LARVESTA, go. LARVESTA firing off the Flame Charge into the Registeel. Flame Charge will be no shielded. Registeel able to make it to the Zap Cannon. Do we see the debuff here? Zap Cannon onto LARVESTA. No debuff. LARVESTA, these Embers are buffed. Embers tearing through the Sableye, and it looks to be a CMP tie here. XL LARVESTA winning CMP over the Sableye. Oh my goodness. Sableye, foul play, barely does not KO, and with Poliwhirl left alive in the back, that's a win. Positive lead in the next match, Poliwhirl into Toxapex. Poliwhirl continuing to farm up energy here, going for the Mud Bomb before the opponent is able to make it to a Sludge Wave. Mud Bomb will connect. That does absolutely nothing. My goodness, is Toxapex bulky. Firing off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb will connect. Again, Toxapex just does not care about super effective charge moves. We see the shield, and it's a brine bait. We now see a save switch into Haxorus, and this is an absolutely massive core breaker for the team. Haxorus firing off the Breaking Swipe into LARVESTA. LARVESTA getting absolutely torn to shreds here, going for the Flame Charge into the Haxorus, but Haxorus looking like he's just going to go for a one shield farm down play, and Haxorus's energy destroys everything on this team. This is so bad. Sending in the Growlithe, you have to hope that they're not running Surf or Earthquake. Thankfully, it is still a Breaking Swipe, but look at the damage. Oh my goodness. Oh, Haxorus on an absolute rampage versus this team. Basically the worst possible thing that you could see with this team. This is extremely unfortunate. Mud Bomb into the Haxorus will be shielded. Haxorus looking for the 1v3. Poliwrath does not want to let that happen. Poliwrath continuing to farm, and we see the catch by the opponent, catching that Mud Bomb onto the Toxapex. Poliwhirl looking for the farm down, but it's not going to cut it there, as Toxapex will secure the win for the opponent, and we see the screenshot as well. Hopping into the final match, looking for a bit of redemption here. We're going to see a save switch into LARVESTA. LARVESTA farming up energy. Deoxys has farmed up to a Thunderbolt here. We see the shield. Opponent goes for the Psycho Boost. They're now going to send in Mandibuzz, and as we've seen before, Mandibuzz is absolutely awful for this team. Firing off the Flame Charge, opponent shielding the first move, and that is quite nice, as now this sets up the potential for a boosted Bug Buzz onto the Mandibuzz. Aerial Ace connects. Oh, that does too much damage. Not going to be able to make it to the boosted Bug Buzz. Going to have to settle for a Flame Charge, but the opponent double shields the Mandibuzz, and now in comes Growlithe. Growlithe just looking to try and make it to a Rock Slide here to get rid of the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz goes for the Dark Pulse. That does so much damage. Growlithe is so glassy. Growlithe, do you call it here? Lets it through. The Dark Pulse gets the KO. Back in comes Poliwhirl, and this is going to be extremely tough. Poliwhirl needing to 1v3 this game, and I'm just not seeing a win con here. How is this going to end up being a win? Poliwhirl over farming as much as it can, but honestly, I just don't really see how it's possible. We're going to see the KO there. In comes the Deoxys, farming up, going for the return. Return into the Deoxys. Does quite a lot of damage here, but that's not enough to KO, and this Thunderbolt will hit for super effective damage. Thunderbolt gets the Poliwhirl low in the back. It's a Powder Snow Alolan Ninetales. Oh no. Poliwhirl Mud Bomb will not do enough damage, and that's a good game. All in all, this has to be one of the most entertaining teams I have ever seen. It goes without saying this is definitely not a team that I would recommend if you're looking to make a climb, but props to this trainer. This has got to be one of the most difficult teams to run that I've ever seen. The amount of resources required to build the team and still able to get wins at expert rank at this point of the season, in which you're going up against some extremely top tier trainers, is beyond impressive. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.